Alright, let's finish this game. Wait, is it recording? Yes, it is. Okay. Immediately after returning from the woods, we asked Miss Mahi to come to the basement. Ah, I came here a long time ago. How nostalgic. The ritual was performed in the room just ahead. You did it here, underground? This is where you perform the exorcism? Stepping foot in here for the first time, Mr. Ewan looked around suspiciously. So what was it you wanted to talk about? I want to ask about the exorcism 10 years ago. Some parts of my memory are missing, so can I confirm some things with you? If that's the case, then I couldn't possibly refuse. Please ask me anything. Can we ask you some questions as well? Oh, of course. Then first of all, why was the exorcism performed? We did it to expel the evil spirit possessing Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor was Irving's twin brother. Once he was such a gentle child, but after a certain age he started tormenting animals as if he was possessed by something. Tormenting animals? Back then, there had been squirrels and rabbits killed deep in the woods. They said it was the work of the Black Dog. You mean the one who really killed them was Mr. Victor? And Natalie was attacked in the same way, right? Natalie? She must be the girl from the village. It seems so. When we received the request, we were told that a girl from the village had also been attacked. I see, so it was Mr. Victor who attacked her. Which means that Irving is innocent. I think so. Hearing that, I don't see any reason for us to believe that Mr. Irving was behind the attack. But why did Mr. Irving think that he himself might have been the culprit? Do you have any idea what happened? No, I'm more confused than anything else. Confused? Well, after hearing about it, my memory became clearer. I'm sure that my brother was responsible for the attack. That day, he brought home a knife with blood on it. I can remember everyone's faces turning pale. My parents had been worried and made him see a doctor, but after the incident, my grandfather started to claim that he was possessed by a demon or an evil spirit. That explains the exorcism. Before we were called, they had already tried a number of methods, like having a priest exorcise the demon. However, none of them seemed to really work. The Lord told us that he wanted the evil spirit gone, and told us to do whatever was necessary to cure him. Whatever was necessary? In those days, my grandfather also governed the village, so he couldn't have a member of the family attacking someone from the village. Victor said he didn't mean to hurt the girl, he just wanted to show her the knife to scare her, but grandfather wouldn't listen to such an excuse. My parents begged him to stop it, but he pressed on with the exorcism. What did you do during the exorcism? First, Mum chanted an incantation in Victor's room. But that didn't seem to work, so at the Lord's request, our methods gradually became more severe. That's right, after a while the ritual moved to the room just ahead. Not even family members were allowed inside. For days after, we heard screaming. I was locked out too, so I don't know any of the details. Mum really tried everything she had, but in the end she was able to drive the evil spirit out with fire. So in short, they locked up and tortured a child for a number of days. A 10-year-old child. Sure, what he did was bad, but even so. So that's why Mr. Irving's parents tried to stop it. Mum has never told me any details about what happened. This is the only case that she never talked about. And recently she's been moaning in her sleep, saying the name of the evil spirit they exorcised. What does it mean? Do you think she's being possessed? Could it be some sort of psychic phenomenon? Or is it because she's traumatized by what happened? It could be. In any case, if this is causing her agony, then I want to find out what happened. Speaking of which, you said you sensed the same feeling from the letter as you did from the evil spirit? Yes, they feel like they have the same spiritual energy. Spiritual energy? Essentially, it's the energy that all living beings have. If a person has a strong spiritual energy, then they may stay and become a spirit after they die. So what do you mean by evil spirit? That's what Mum called the feeling she had when she met Mr. Victor 10 years ago. The feeling she had when she met Mr. Victor? You had the same feeling before. So that means Victor wrote the letter? That's one possibility. If I was right about what I felt, that's not possible. He died, didn't he? It is possible for a ghost to write a letter. I'm sure you're suspicious after what happened at the seance, but that was just a lack of skill on my part. So the ghost wrote the letter? No, the truth is I don't know. I felt the same spiritual energy, but I can't tell whether the person who wrote it is dead or alive. So it's possible that he's alive. That's more believable than the idea that a dead person wrote the letter. But Mr. Victor died in a car accident along with Mr. Irving's mother. Really? Did you see the bodies? I didn't. The bodies came home after the accident, but they were in an awful state, so I wasn't allowed to see them. But my father should have confirmed their identities. I don't know how bad they really were, but are you sure that he properly checked the bodies? If they were minced up or something, he wouldn't even be able to tell they were human. Mr. Ewan, your example is... Now that you mention it, I don't know how their identities were confirmed. I just believed whatever I was told back then. I see. Should we investigate? Investigate? How? Well, we could ask the people at the church where the bodies were buried, or check old newspapers. Maybe there's an article about the car accident. I see. I don't know how much of the medium's story we can believe, but let's trust her for now. I'd also like to find out what happened. Let's work together. Sure. Anyways, was there more to your story? No, I told you everything I know. Okay, then I'm gonna go investigate right away. It's late, so we don't have much time either. With that, Mr. Ewan left the basement. But why? Mr. Irving was standing restlessly. He had just been told that his deceased brother may be the culprit, so it was only natural. 1 second, I think I just got a message. That might be important. No, I didn't? Okay, cool. What was my phone vibrating about then? What should I do? While I was wondering what I should say, Miss Mahi stepped forward to face Mr. Irving. If you don't mind, I might look through the adjacent room. The room next door. The ritual took place in the neighbouring room, so there may be traces of Mr. Victor's spiritual energy. I wish to confirm whether I was wrong about the energy I sensed from the letter. I see, I don't mind, but... Mr. Irving looked around the room, troubled. I don't know how to get to the next room. I'm sure that we can get to the next room from here. Looking around, I couldn't see any door other than the one to the ground floor. The entrance to the room next door is hidden. When I came here before, a family member opened the door, so I don't know how to open it. Miss Mahi doesn't know either, so to get to the next room... search the room? Go make a hole in the wall. Should we try searching the room? Maybe we can find the door. Always search. Yes, let's try that. Okay, before we do this, I need to use the ladies' room. 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. Too much tea. Okay, there must be a hidden door here. I need to find it. Oh, it's behind the bookshelf. It has to be, right? This is where the box was. Back then I was focused on the box. I didn't really look inside. I took another look inside the lower half of the bookshelf. Oh, there's a coin. Mr. Irving, there's a 6-pence coin. Really? You can keep it if you... Thanks. Oh, thank you so much. What a lucky find. Maybe I can buy some sweets with this. I didn't find anything other than the coin here. Okay. A variety of books are packed together. The top shelf is labeled A on the right and B on the left. And the middle shelf is labeled C on the right. Am I getting a friggin' notification again? Yes. No? No. Blah blah blah. Okay, I get it. First shelf. I looked inside. Yeah. This is just gonna be the same shit, right? Okay. Oh, use. Right, okay. This, right? It says +1 G5. I wonder what that means. It was in the box with the knife. Oh, is it somehow connected to the labels on the bookshelf? Right, yes. Same letters I used, right? G, yeah. If this isn't some sort of coincidence, the memo may be a hint about the bookshelf. The bookshelf is labeled on each row and column. Okay, F is closest to G. Yeah, because it's a letter before G. That's what I'm saying. +1 G was written on the memo. Maybe that means that when F is moved up 1, it becomes G. Ah, I wonder what the 5 on the memo could mean. When I examined the place marked by the label F, I found a book marked Volume 5. I took out the book. Ah, there was a screw. Oh, I can use the coin. Take out the screw. Yeah, literally the coin. Very hard. I used the coin to turn the screw. Okay, got it. Huh? I told you it was behind the bookcase. It's always behind the bookcase. Just then, the bookshelf slid sideways. Oh, a door! That's where it was. It seems so. There's a stopper on the back of the bookshelf which comes off if you remove the screw, allowing it all to move. Really? Anyway, I'm glad we could find it, all thanks to that memo. Yeah, my father was leading us to the next room. I wonder what could be there. Mr. Irving touched the door nervously. The door opened with a deep sound and we stepped into the next room. Creepy. It was an eerie sight. I found myself unable to move. So this is where Mr. Victor's exorcism was performed, for days on end at that. It seems I was right after all. I do believe the spiritual energy that lingers here is the same as that which I felt from the culprit's letter. Murmuring, she touched the bed that had been placed there. In other words, it belongs to Mr. Victor. Yes, or maybe it's the evil spirit possessing him. In any case, it's the same as I felt when I met Mr. Victor. Really? Oh, you've been here before too, Mr. Irving. Miss Mahi seems shocked. How did you know that? I felt your energy. Have you ever had deep feelings of fear down here? I think they remain as energy too. You can tell that much. Deep feelings of fear. Did something happen to Mr. Irving here? Is there such a thing as spiritual energy anyway? Should I believe everything you've said so far? I'm not lying now. Of course, given my behavior so far, I don't blame you for being skeptical. I checked everything I needed to check. Excuse me for now. Please let me know if there's anything I can do. With that, Miss Mahi left the room. Only Mr. Irving and I remained. Did something happen to you here too, my lord? I asked the question timidly and he responded in a whisper. I was attacked. What? After the exorcism was over, my brother brought me here against my will and choked me. Mr. Victor did that? What for? He was really angry at me for taking everything away. My mother came in immediately and helped me. Taking everything? Everything from him. Mr. Irving's face seemed to twist in pain, but still he continued on. It was like he was talking to himself. After that, Mother brought him to the car and drove off. Who knows how Grandfather would have reacted if he found out what my brother had done. They left the house to escape, but during that escape they got into an accident. That's why they died? No way. Maybe it was the sheer pain of remembering, but Mr. Irving was biting his lip tightly. Shall we go back up? You can take a rest in your room. No, it's okay, I've come this far. I need to find out what my father was trying to tell me. Okay, I'll help. There are still some things that worry me about all this, but for now I'd better start examining the room. Hello, sir. Let's check out this room. Let me know if you see anything interesting, okay? There are many candles, but what are they for? They were probably used in the exorcism, but still, they look creepy. I wonder if Mr. Victor was lying here at the time of the exorcism. This is what you put incense in, right? Is there something inside? Oh, it won't open. I tried to remove the lid, but I could only open a small gap. Nothing of use, I guess. There are many bloody marks on the wall. Maybe they're Mr. Victor's? If so, then the exorcism must have been quite gruesome. Hello. Oh, okay. Use coin. Yes, so this coin could be used. Oh, okay. This coin could be used to open the burner lid. Insert it into the gap. I inserted the coin into the gap, a small gap between the lid and the container, then pulled on the lid. Oh, it came off. I peered into the open burner. There was a piece of paper in it. Something is written there. It's Mr. Oliver's handwriting. So is this a letter to Mr. Irving? I read the letter. By the time you discover this, I assume you're living your life as Irving. I knew this would only confuse a young boy like you, so I kept it to myself, but I've always wanted to apologize to you for robbing you of everything, you so free of sin, and heaping a whole lot of other things on you. I'm ashamed that I couldn't stop my father at the time. I lost my wife and son as a result. However, now that it's come to this, I do hope that you'll lead a splendid life as the head of the family. I pray with all my heart that roads lead you to happiness. P.S. In order for you to live as you, facing the past will be inevitable. To that end, I left you hints on the places and things that are related to your past. I believe you were able to find your way here because you have accepted everything that happened in the past. The letter ends here. Living as Irving? I don't understand. Robbing him of everything, heaping other things on him. What's that supposed to mean? Did the twins somehow switch places? Like, I had the feeling that that was something that happened because that's the common twin thing. Mr. Irving, I found this letter. I handed in the piece of paper I found. This is... Mr. Irving's hands began to tremble as he read. Father. Forgive me, my lord, but I actually read what it said. What does it mean? The letter mentions living as Irving. I shouldn't have asked about it, right? No, I want you to listen. I don't want to hide anymore. Mr. Irving looked me straight in the eye, then spoke. I am Victor. Yeah, there we go. You're what? I'm Victor. At least I was originally. Irving was actually my older brother. You're Mr. Victor, my lord? I'm sorry, but what do you mean by that? That incident, my brother attacking a girl in the village, it led us to switching our identities, as ordered by my grandfather, the head of the family. There's another, thing that's done this twin swapping thing. I'm not gonna say it, because obviously it's spoilers, but just, that's why my mind went there. But why do you need to do that? Because the eldest son is the successor, that's how it is. Grandfather wanted me to assume that role. He thought he had no choice but to make me the eldest, make me Irving. My brother, after all, had caused too much trouble. He was deemed unfit to become the head of the family. That's why they switched. The news was so shocking I was barely able to digest it. I'll have to ask him for more details. So they performed the exorcism on Mr. Victor, but that was actually the son born as Irving, your older brother, yes? Yes, when communicating with people outside the family about my brother's problems, we tried not to call him Irving. We couldn't tarnish the name of the eldest son of the family. So they chose to refer to him as Victor instead. Yes, before the identity switch was even decided though. If we hadn't switched, then I myself would still be treated as the problem child. I actually am Victor after all. Terrible, heaping the blame on you, the younger brother, attaching your name to things you didn't even do. That's how much we valued heritage. The head of the family must be trusted by everyone. So they tried to pretend that everything was fine. That's wrong. Yeah, I feel the same way now. It made me confused. I could only remember what happened 10 years ago in parts, so I thought my brother's actions were actually my own. In the picture, you two seemed to be on good terms. In fact, I think we were on good terms. My brother was strong and cheerful, whereas I was more quiet. Because of that, he would often protect me. But then, from a certain point in time, the anger within him started to grow. That's why he caused problems. Was it really the work of an evil spirit inside? Honestly, I'm skeptical. My brother was raised strictly as the heir to our family, so maybe the fault lies there somewhere. It was only when he acted out against all the scolding and pressure around him, gradually isolating himself from the family, that he started to cause problems. Your brother was angry at you for taking everything away. Is that because you switched identities? Yes, because of what grandfather ordered after the exorcism. It's not Mr. Irving's fault. Maybe his brother couldn't help but blame someone, but still. So not only did Mr. Keith assume your father's identity, but you and your brother assumed each other's. It certainly is a weird story, but Keith was the only servant who knew about our switch, so maybe that's why he decided to take on a new identity himself as well. He may have deemed it indeed possible. I see. By the way, a lot of other servants besides Mr. Keith were fired at the time. Was that to prevent your identity switch from being noticed? It seems that way. It's terrible, I know. There's nothing else for me to ask. Oh wait, there is something. I didn't see this one. Okay. You seem to have an idea as to why your father wants you dead. Is it because you switched identities? Yes, when it was decided that I would become heir, my father disagreed. Deep down, I thought it was because I wasn't suitable as a successor. And since my memory was all jumbled up itself, you thought your brother's actions were actually your own. Yeah, words like abominable demons were thrown around in reference to him, but somehow I thought they were about me. Because the name Victor had been used, the switching of identities is what caused everything. Mr. Irving, are you okay now? Have you properly regained your memory? Yes, thanks to you. Feelings, memories, they're okay now. I don't think I'll be confused anymore. I see, I'm glad. I breathed a sigh of relief and Mr. Irving smiled. I was worried until now, but I'm glad I talked to you. I was mainly able to get things sorted out in my head because you were here to listen. Really? I'm happy to have helped. Yes, thank you so much. Mr. Irving glanced at the letter we found, eyes narrowed. I do hope that you'll lead a splendid life as the head of the family. I hope I can live up to Father's expectations. I myself want to live that way, I really do. Lead a splendid life, yes. Mr. Irving will continue to do just that. Therefore, I must protect Mr. Irving. I have to catch the culprit no matter what. My resolve was the greatest it had ever been. Yes, I was just checking the OBS time. Phew, I'm tired. After that, I accompanied Mr. Irving to his room and finally had some time to settle down. Today was tough. I went to the woods, then the basement, got trapped in a room, managed to escape, searched a pond for a stolen knife. Counting off the day's events almost made my head spin. Actually, I'm kind of thirsty. Might go grab some water. When I went into the kitchen, the lights were still on. Huh? It's so late. I made my way to the sink, somewhat suspicious. Huh? Oh, Ellie, what's up? Oh, Mr. Jack. Having suddenly appeared, I couldn't help but stare at him. What's that look on your face? Is it because I'm not wearing my hat? I don't blame you, I'm always wearing it, I guess. The hatless Mr. Jack stroked his silver hair lightly. Yes, I was a little surprised. You know what's annoying is that I fucking suspected him really early on. Because he was the one in the kitchen. Like, he's in the kitchen a lot. And that first bit was to do with the kitchen. Like, it was near the kitchen. So if this is Victor, like, I had a weird, like, sixth sense about it all. Yes, I was a little surprised. I didn't know Mr. Jack had silver hair. The hat he wears makes it impossible to notice. Now that I think about it, he has green eyes too. In many ways, he looks kind of like Mr. Irving. So, what are you doing here? You wanted to get some snacks? Oh, I was thirsty, so I came to have a glass of water. I see, then I'll make you some tea. You have no more work, right? There's some leftover scones, so let's have a midnight tea party. Wow, thank you so much. You're so kind, Mr. Jack. It's my policy to be nice to girls. Is that right? Come to think of it, I don't know much about Mr. Jack. There are some things I'm curious about. Let me ask him some questions. Mr. Jack, have you ever met Mr. Irving? No, I have only ever seen him from a distance. I'm always in the kitchen, and the Lord never comes down here. It's been half a year since Mr. Jack came here. During that time, Mr. Irving was barely ever at the manor, so I don't think it's strange that they've never met. Mr. Irving didn't even know about Natalie. Speaking of him, the Lord seems to like you. What? I'm not sure if he likes me. Louisa told me he's always calling you over to his room. Louisa told you that? I'll have to ask her about that later. Haha, what kind of person is the Lord anyway? Is he sort of overbearing or... Not at all, he's serious yet responsible. I think he's wonderful. Oh, good for you. Were you still working here, Mr. Jack? No, I've already finished my work. I was worried if the fire in the oven was properly extinguished, so I came to check. What were you doing before coming to this manor, Mr. Jack? Pretty much the same thing as here, cooking for nobles in their mansion. I used to be at the bottom though, so it was much tougher. It's nice not to be yelled at here. We're low on staff though, so I can't goof off as much. Is that so? Getting yelled at, even a master chef like you? Oh, unless it was for goofing off itself. Haha, that might have been a part of it. Well, people were tough on me for my own good, I guess. After finishing the tea and scones, Mr. Jack got up from his chair. Now that we've finished drinking tea, shall we call it a night? Yes, good night. Good night, sweet dreams. What? Huh? Did I say something weird? No, it's a perfectly normal figure of speech. A sweet dream. For a moment, I thought he was talking about a prophetic dream, which gave me a start. What? I'm sure Mr. Jack doesn't know about it. That night, I had a dream again. That's bad. Red, is this fire? What on earth is burning? No way, is the manor burning? It's hot. I'm burning too. Oh my gosh, fire! Huh? What? Are you still asleep? I had jumped out of bed suddenly. Louisa, who was getting ready, looked at me strangely. What do you mean fire? You'll jinx us saying things like that. The manor was on fire. They're gonna burn everything and everyone this time. What are you saying, really? You're scaring me. You got up earlier than usual just to say that? Enough sleepwalking. Go wash your face. I'm going first. Don't be late today. Louisa left the room without giving me a second thought. Maybe she'd gotten used to my morning routine. I must immediately inform Mr. Irving about my dream before things go wrong. I quickly got ready for work, then hurried out of the room. Excuse me, Mr. Irving, there's something I need to tell you. Me? Sorry, but can you wait a little? Yes. Oh? It was then that I noticed Mr. Maurice and Mr. Ewan. You came too early, just in time. I learned a lot about the accidental death 10 years ago, so you should listen too. Accidental death, as in Mr. Irving's mother? Yes, please let me hear. What did you find out? About the details of the accident. It was a car accident, but the cause of death was drowning. The car apparently crashed into the sea. Drowning? Victor was thrown from the car into the sea. It took a few days for his body to be recovered. So it didn't look the same as when he was alive. They determined it was him based on his belongings. Is that so? So the body might not have even been his? Yeah, it's possible. If Mr. Irving's brother is alive, then I wonder if there is a possibility of him being the culprit. That is, if Miss Mahi's words are anything to go by. I'm just impressed you found out about 10 years ago. Was it written in the newspapers? I actually checked the old newspapers here, yes, but in doing so, I came across a memo my father wrote. Written by Keith. It listed the detective in charge of the investigation. I used that to contact the police and find out more details. I see, so Keith was investigating the accident too. Maybe it has something to do with his research into the black dog. Speaking of Keith, Maurice, you found out something too, right? Yes, Maurice, who had been silent until then, stepped forward. I need to get the OBS open. I heard from Noelle last night that she saw Keith in the attic on the night before his death. In the attic? There's nothing there but servants' rooms. What was he doing there? Apparently, he went into someone's room. It was dark in the corridor, so she couldn't tell which room he went in. Maybe he was murdered in whichever room he went into? Could that be a possibility? Perhaps he was fed poison or something similar there. Yeah, and then carried to his room and made out to look like he died of natural causes, for example. Not entirely out of the question, I'd say. It'd mean the murderer was a servant, though. Yeah. Alright then, why don't we try questioning each servant? About the current case too, of course. Excuse me, we don't need to do that. It's Jack. It's Jack. Oh, oh my god, he looks like Irvin, but I'm just gonna wipe that from my memory and not bring it up. Well then. Oh, please wait, we don't have time for that now. Ellie, did something happen? Well, yes, I had a dream this morning that the manor was on fire. Fire? That sounds preposterous. What caused the fire? I don't know what caused it. All I know is I saw it burning. Really? Alright, let's check the manor right away. Whoever it was may have already planted the seeds. For now, we need to prevent the fire first. My lord, it was just a dream, was it not? I'll explain later. Postpone all your plans today, including meals. I want you and all the servants to check the manor. Then let the guests know that there is a danger of fire. Understood, right away. Mr. Maurice bowed and left the room in a hurry. I'll check too. You had a prophetic dream, didn't you, Ellie? Yes, I think so. I'll be joining you as well. Let's all protect this manor together. Mr. Ewan and I nodded firmly in agreement. I'll start by checking through the entire manor. There might be something. Doubt. Hi, Ellie. Miss Noelle, are you checking this room? Yes, Mr. Maurice told me to, but I haven't seen anything problematic. I see. What about up till now? Has there been anything unusual? Well, this may not be related to the fire, but when I went to the storeroom where we keep our embroidery tools, I noticed silk thread was missing. Silk thread? It's the same as this. I went to pick it up before talking to Mr. Maurice. That's when I noticed. Miss Noelle showed me a lustrous golden-coloured silk thread. 2 bundles were gone. They were there yesterday, though. Really? Maybe they were stolen. Ellie, did you glance at me just now? It's not me this time. No, ma'am, I didn't. There's no way you would steal something like that. That's okay. Once you're a thief, you're a suspect for life. She doesn't need to be so hard on herself. I mean, yes, what she did was pretty major. Anyway, I wonder why the silk's gone. Was it really stolen? It is rather expensive. I'll try looking for the thread once the manor is secure. Yes, please. I'll see if there's anything dangerous lying around too. Let's go to the dining room. I tried to enter the dining room, but... What? Is this locked? The door was locked and I couldn't enter. Ah, you trying to get into the dining room? I haven't been able to enter for a while now. Louisa had seen me standing there in front of the door and decided to let me know as she was passing by. For how long exactly? Well, I tried about 10 minutes ago. Someone's inside, I guess? Someone? Who? I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this. Hey, Louisa, can you, take a look inside from the window? Me? Well, alright. I suppose we need to make doubly sure of everything, what with this talk of a fire potentially happening. Which reminds me, weren't you saying something about fire when you woke up this morning? That have anything to do with our making the rounds now? Well, I'll explain later. What's that supposed to mean? Louisa gave me a suspicious look, but went outside to check from the window. I'll let Louisa handle that for the time being. I should investigate elsewhere. Natalie entered the kitchen at the same time I did. Sorry I'm late. Hey, Natalie. Are you okay? Yes, sorry I left in the middle of my shift yesterday, and thank you for the treat. Seems like you've recovered. Good for you. Well then, let's get to it. Can you come help me here? Yes, what are you making now? I'm frying some onions, thinking of using them in the soup. Wow, what a beautiful caramel colour. Well, I did put in the work. Takes an hour to get like this. Oh, my hands hurt. They really are nice golden brown. It must have been tough to get them like that. Doesn't look like onions. It literally doesn't look like onions at all. Jack, I need to talk to you. At that time, Mr. Maurice came into the kitchen. I'm sorry, but could you stop cooking right away? What for? If I stop, I won't be able to prepare breakfast in time. That won't be a problem, it seems. When you get to a good point, turn off all your stoves and other flame sources. What? I mean, fine, I'll make sure I can use these again later, but still, it's so much work. I know how you feel, but we may have a fire on our hands. Can you make sure there's nothing dangerous lying about now? Fire? Really? Oh, Natalie, you help look around the kitchen too. Okay. Okay, I'll leave you to it. I'll turn off all the stoves and stuff. Sigh. They'll start investigating the kitchen now. Should I come back here again later so I don't get in their way? Well, considering what to do, Natalie spoke up. We're missing an oil pot. Oil pot? Was there actually oil in it? Oh, Ellie, yeah, there's always two here, but the one filled with oil is missing. There was only one pot where Natalie was pointing at. It's gone. Maybe it was stolen? You think so, but what would you do with a stolen oil pot? The oil could be used to start a fire. I have a bad feeling about this. I asked Natalie to report to Mr. Maurice, then left the kitchen. Excuse me, Miss Mahi. You may know already. Yes, I heard. There is a danger of fire. Yes, have you noticed anything? No, nothing for now. I've been looking around this room, but I haven't found anything that could cause a fire. Then it should be okay here. I bowed and left Miss Mahi's room. Okay. There's no one here. There's nothing unusual. There's no one here. There's nothing unusual. Oh, white room. She's still in bed. Excuse me. Oh, there's no one here? The room was deathly quiet. A tuft of golden hair was visible from under the sheets. Miss Layla must be sleeping. How about Miss Grace? Oh, do you need something? At that time, Mrs. Grace entered through the door. Miss Grace, as you may know, we may be looking at fire here at... Ah, yes, I heard. Is there any truth to that possibility? Then again, I suppose this whole place is indeed just one strange occurrence after another, so I'll take a look around later, after Layla wakes up. No, if you could perhaps check the room now. If something happens before, later would just be too late. All right. With that, Mrs. Grace moved away from the bed and quietly began to look around the room. Can I help you? No, if both of us start to look, it'll be too noisy. Layla may wake up. Understood. Please let me know if you need anything. I bowed and left Mrs. Grace's room. I think I've looked around most of the manor now. With that, I returned to the hall. Still haven't been able to check the dining room, though. There really is something fishy about that, not being able to get inside. Oh, Ellie, I tried to look into the dining room from the window. There was some cloth in the way, so I couldn't really see. Cloth covering the window. That does it. I need to get in no matter what. Louisa, could you get the dining room key from Mr. Maurice? Why am I running errands for you like this? Ridiculous. Though clearly unhappy, Louisa went to look for Mr. Maurice. But why is the dining room locked? What? I casually turned the knob, and the door opened just fine. Oh, weird. Okay, I will see you in the next one, I think. Yeah. So, bye.